What is a blockchain? Many people inquire about blockchains as they enter cryptocurrency for the first time. Essentially, a blockchain is a shared database of transactional records. These transactional records could be about monetary exchanges, they could be things like contracts, they could be things like NFTs. Regardless, different blockchains can store different types of data within their blockchain databases. Moreover, blockchains are also protected by cryptography, which ensures that the blockchains themselves cannot be compromised. When talking about blockchains, I think that it is very good for you to visualize what a blockchain actually looks like. I happen to be a teacher by trade, and we use these types of math blocks in elementary schools to help kids learn the fundamentals of math, and they happen to be very well suited to teach you about blockchain technologies as well. In the case of Bitcoin, every 10 minutes a block is added to the blockchain. Each block contains that 10 minutes worth of transactional records, and then every 10 minutes another block is added to that blockchain. Another 10 minutes goes by and another block is added to the blockchain. Now let's say you decide to make a transaction on the Bitcoin blockchain. You do it, and then your transaction is added to the blockchain as well. Now the amazing thing about this is that as future blocks are added, your block remains there forever. It's immutable, which means that it can never be modified, it can never be erased, and no one can ever say that you didn't transfer or receive that Bitcoin. Now when talking about this, that immutability of a blockchain is very important, because no matter what happens to these blocks, your block will always be there. So in the case of other blockchains that can handle smart contracts, if you make a contract for the purchase of a house, despite time going by, that contract is immutable. It'll always be there, and it protects your investment. It's immutable in the blockchain, and no one can ever change it despite how many blocks are added on top. Another core component of blockchain technology is the concept of consensus and decentralization. Going back to our prior example, we have the blockchain where you did your transaction. Now the thing about this is that that doesn't just exist on one computer. In fact, what happens is that through a consensus model, that blockchain is replicated amongst other computers as well, other nodes. And so that we have an identical transactional record to show that your Satoshis or your Bitcoin or your smart contract or whatever it happens to be is actually protected via consensus on multiple computers on the overall network. This protects you because if a bad actor comes on and says, hey, I have 1 trillion Bitcoin, look at the transaction I have done, the consensus model says, hey, your blocks aren't the same. You have modified your transactional records. You are knocked off the network. You are not agreed for by consensus. The consensus says that these are the correct values for the blockchain network. It helps to ensure the security of the network, because if the consensus says that you transferred 10 Bitcoin and someone else says you transferred only 1 Bitcoin, the consensus protects your transaction so that someone cannot be a bad actor in the overall network. As mentioned prior, it's important to understand that decentralized blockchains are immutable, which means that the information held within the blocks cannot be changed, and therefore any transaction is irreversible. In the case of Bitcoin, this can be very valuable because the blockchain is transparent, so any transaction across the consensus model can be viewed and verified. And this can also be said for other types of blockchains as well. And this is why, in the case of smart contracts or with regards to digital ownership, blockchains can be a very good thing for people looking to secure permanent ownership of their assets. If you'd like to learn more, I really think you should check out this playlist I have on the screen. It is a collection of videos, almost like a digital dictionary, that'll help you fundamentally level up your knowledge about crypto one day at a time. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.